Welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to have a look at a quick analysis of Game 6 from the World Chess Championship in 2024. The game is played between Gukesh Dommaraju and Ding Liren. Here, Ding starts off with d4, knight f6, bishop f4, and then we have the London system here. So as we know, e3, e6, knight f3, c5, and we have the famous pawn structure in the London system. And here bishop d6 was played, offering a trade of bishops. Bishop b5 check, knight c6, and trade of the knights and the bishop. And then we have, after b takes c6, we have bishop takes d6, queen takes d6, and here queen a4. So the top game in this position is played between Magnus Carlsen and Ding Liren in 2023. However, in this position, Ding was playing black in that particular game. Gukesh opts to castle for black, and here Ding Liren plays queen a3, pinning the pawn to the queen. So Gukesh plays knight e4, trying to get rid of that pin, but after knight to d2, now the pin still stands. After e5, the e5 move was now possible because the knight was not anymore on f3. So after the trade of knights, we have queen takes c5. So white is up a pawn, but that is not a problem as of now. And as you can see, the timings for both players are pretty much blitzing out their moves. So it's a move 13, and they have hardly used any of their time, which means this is all preparation. So after now here, Gukesh attacks the g2 pawn by playing queen g6. Knight d2, white ignores that threat, and after the pawn is taken here, white castles queenside. And now the interesting game comes up. As we know, in game 6 is usually an important game historically in World Championship, because it's believed that if you win game 6, you're most likely going to win the whole match. And good examples for that is Mikhail Tal, Bobby Fischer, and also even Magnus Carlsen as recently as 2020 World Championship. So after castling queenside here, black captures another pawn. So white has lost two pawns, and here d takes e5 is played by white. Now interesting point here is white's knight is attacking the d4 pawn. So how can white defend that pawn? They play this interesting move, rook b8. So you might be thinking, how is white attacking that pawn? Because rook is not doing nothing to defend this pawn. However, it's attacking the b2 pawn. So now here, if white plays a stupid move such as knight takes e5, you have a checkmate here. So now this second rank, or the 7th rank for black, is very weak for white. So here, after rook b8, we have knight c4. It looks after this pawn, the weak b2 pawn. At the same time, it's also looking after the e3 pawn as well. Here, black plays this interesting move, bishop e6, trying to get rid of this knight, because this knight is quite strong from this position. And how does white reply to that? They simply play bishop d2, attacking the queen. The queen moves, and then we have rook e1, trying to defend this e3 pawn, because there will be a trade on c4 very soon. So the trade occurs in c4. After that, queen f5 is played. The pawn is taken on c6. Here black takes the e5 pawn, and then here Ding actually offers quite a lot of queen trades, and Gukesh declines all of them. So they don't want to have a 3-4 repetition here, because if Gukesh go for e7 with the queen, it's a 3-4 repetition. Instead he plays queen h4, and here now white has taken control of this d file, and white is strong in this file. However, there's no problem here. g6 is played, queen e5, defending the pawn on h2, and after the rook attacks the queen, queen moves to g3. Now Ding offers another trade of queens, Now you have to understand, if the queens are traded, white will have a good pawn storm in the queen side, whereas black will have a pawn storm in the king side. It will be interesting, but Gukesh declines the offer and plays queen h5 at this point, and after queen f4, queen a5. So Gukesh actually slides the queen all the way to the a file. The whole idea is to attack this a2 pawn, and after the pawn moves here, now he plays b4. The attack is still on because black can bring the queen to a2 as seen in this diagram. So rook f4 attacking this e4 pawn. Now here, obviously, queen e2 is played, trying to put some pressure on the 7th rank. Rook a d2, queen moves to f3, and black offers a trade of queens here. King c2 was played, and after the queens were traded, and now all of a sudden, after f5, we can see black has a protected pass pawn. You might be thinking this is quite interesting. It is quite interesting. White has to defend carefully because these protected pass pawns can be very, very dangerous for white. So now h4 was played. So white's idea is to simply undermine black's pawn structure here. It's a very strong pawn structure. Undermine that and cause isolated pawns, which are easy to attack with a rook. So that's exactly what happens after e3. Rook e2 defending this pawn, and then rook e7. After king d3, now black doubles up with rook and protects this pawn nicely. h5 was played, as we mentioned before, undermining the pawn structure. After d check h5, we have rook d5 attacking the pawn. h4 was played, and then white takes the pawns first, and then a check was given on d7 by the rook. Now it is important to understand the only move here which is drawish is king c2. For example, here what happens if they play king c4? An immediate win for black. White can create an advantage by playing rook d2, and for example, if they take, then obviously this pawn is not going to be stopped anytime soon. A possible continuation is, for example, if rook moves to d5, we have rook e2, king b3, and as you can see, this other pawn on h4 will start to move forward, and this is an easy winning endgame for black. So what happens if they play rook e1 here? If they play rook e1, you simply move the pawn forward, and after rook g5 check, the king moves forward, rook g2, and as you can see, both these rooks will be tied down in protecting this pawn. So what happens is, after h3, king h2, and then the rook come forward, and then eventually black's king will come and pick up this pawn on f4, and this will be an easy winning endgame for black. So going back to this position here, king c2 is the only good move, and after that king g7 was played. Ding here played rook g2, and king h8 was played. For example, here if you simply play king h6, then it's a mate into rook g5 will be mate here. So that's the only reason here. In this position, Gukesh plays king h8, and the moves were repeated again and again, and it eventually ended up in a draw on move 46. I hope you enjoyed this video. For more videos like this, please like and subscribe, and it's bye for now.